All right. Hey everybody, it's Wednesday workshops and I tried my hardest to get us on a live this week and it just was our audio was not aligning up. Eddie already gave me some really great tips, but anyway, this is all part of the fun of just doing this for me and just bringing just great speakers to you guys. So what is Wednesday workshop? Well, every Wednesday at 1 p.m. we're supposed to be live. You guys are now watching this as a recording, but I will get it down. I promise you, if I do anything else in this year, I'm going to get down my technology.
It's only January.
Um,
You're good.
I know it's only January. I got 11 more months, you guys. So yeah, so why Wednesday workshops? Well, number one is I want to be able to bring the the people in our profession who are literally just world class to you guys. And I'm not going to do any teaching. They're going to do all the teaching on whatever topic they choose to they choose to do that week. Why Wednesdays? And Eddie, I know he's going to jump in. He's going to repeat what he said earlier because it was really, really good. But for me, why Wednesdays? Because it's the middle of the week, right? We all need a charge in
Yeah.
the middle of the week. We still have a whole nother half of the week left to go, and this, you guys, is your recharge. And Eddie, you had really great words of wisdom there. So can you repeat what you said earlier?
Sure. I live by this getting weller 7 days of success. So today's Wednesday. I call it What If Wednesday. And that's a day where you kind of go, what if I asked for that raise? What if I was in line at the grocery store and I saw this person? I'm like, man, they so need to hear the message. What if we're surrounded by the what ifs? And I think that's the day where people call it hump day because they can't wait to look forward to the weekend. No species looks forward to the weekend because they don't know what day it is except us. And so if we want to call it What If Wednesday, why not do something so much bigger than you? Because the little tweaks, as you and I were talking about earlier, just that little tweak is a game changer when it comes to the projection of your office and your life. Yeah, just awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And I responded. I was like, could you imagine if every chiropractor, whether you're a chiropractic student or you're opening a practice, and you live by that what if rule, like every
Yeah,
day, if you live by that what if rule every day, your practice would be gigantic. You would get so many new patients. You wouldn't even be able to serve all the people that you
right.
got because what if you did speak to the person in front of you who you knew needed to be checked for chiropractic and you did that every time?
Every time.
It'd be it'd be gigantic. It'd be gigantic. So today, Eddie, you are going to talk about a topic called the Scientific Unifier, and I love that topic. It's so unique. It's so you.
Yeah.
What does that mean? What does that mean to you? What are you going to talk to us about today?
Oh gosh, when I guess I always think of the exams that we do as chiropractors. Even in chiropractic school, the exams are not the same when we go through school and into clinic. And when we go into clinic, then what happens is you can do your thing. And so the practitioner comes with the clipboard and their white long lab coat looking like a doctor. It's a train wreck. And so they go in and do that. And they're just saying, okay, good. That works for you. No, what works for us? What is the thing that for us? Even Logan College says, you see the patient for the first 3 to 5 visits, and if they don't get any relief, then you should take some x-rays. Help me here, right? And so again, there's got to be some sort of protocol that we have as chiropractors. This is where I'm going. I'm, in a sense, stepping away from practice. I'm only going to be practicing 1 day a week, starting in about a month. Getting a new office space. I'm moving out of this space. And it's I'm really kind of going to the teaching unifier because I'm going to be a thorn in chiropractic side. I am. There's got to be something to where all of us have some sort of congruency from one office to the next. Because Nicole, let's face it, if you're a cardiologist and I'm a cardiologist and I send you my patient, you're going to look at the notes and see, oh, he did all of the cardiology exams. What's a chiropractic exam? And I think there isn't one. And there is one in my office, and there is one in your office, and there is one within 114 other chiropractors within a 10-mile radius of my offices. Then they all do something different. As I always said in the first book I wrote, we are a flippin' box of chocolates, and patients don't know what to get. So I'm not going after chiropractors to teach them the science. I'm going after the public. And I'm going to ask the public, have you ever had your chiropractor? Did you know that chiropractic can also help you with? And so I'm going to do that. And so that at least the public could get educated. So when they do go to see the chiropractor, they'll go, hey, I just saw this video online and this chiropractor made sense about this science that you guys do. Do you offer any of that? That's where I'm gonna go because
Oh,
BJ
you're gonna
tried
be
to,
holding them. You're holding chiropractors to the fire. I like that.
oh, it's on. I mean, it's absolutely on. And so that's where I want to just go. We can do this. I got this. And we got this as a profession. So last night I was going through the videos that I have, and I'm putting together a program called the Chiro Legacy Club, right? And so right now there's 71 videos in the queue, are training videos. And again, it's not our way. Like your way isn't the best, Nicole, and my way isn't the best, but there's some way that all of us can come together and say, let's agree on that. Let's just agree on that. Like all the cardiologists say, hey, let's at least start with taking their blood pressure. Can we start there? Sure.
Right.
That's the that's you're expected that. So imagine you as a patient going into a cardiology office and they don't do that. The cardiologist just goes, yeah, your blood pressure. Yeah, that feels a little high. You would be like, what's going on right now?
Mm-hmm.
Because you as a patient understands that they have a procedure and protocol. Why don't we
Right.
have this chiropractors? And we have the science available today of all
Mhm.
eras. Holy cow.
Right.
Now.
Absolutely.
And so it's again, I wrote a book, co-authored a book, infrared thermography, and it's not technique based, it's science based, right? It's just thermography. And I'm a huge fan of right now, I'm going to be pushing these like mad to the profession, these new range of motion glasses. And so these glasses, as you turn back and forth to have the patient, and you're not touching the patient, and then on the computer screen or on the TV screen, if you have it, you can see this image moving back and forth, and it'll tell you the XYZ axis of what's going on. Science, that's just data. And what you do with the data is your business as far as your art. But there needs to be
Mhm.
data that you collect that's objective, not subjective, objective. It's like taking images, right, Nicole? When you look at
Yeah.
images, you can't make up that image. That's your spine. So
Yeah.
what are we gonna do about it? Right. And so again,
Right.
that's objective. And so again, when we have more and more objective data, then the patient will start to go, huh, yeah, my other chiropractor did the same test too, but they didn't get the same results. We have different results. That's okay. That's because our art is very different. But the science should be a unifier. So no, it's more embarrassing than ever. I swear it's more embarrassing. When you get a patient come to you, referred to you from another chiropractic
Mhm.
office, let's say they moved from out of
Ugh.
state to you, and you get their file and you open their file and you're like, ah, like I apologize sometimes to patients. I do. I apologize. I said, we're going to do a bunch of different exams that you've never had before. And again, it just makes us different, a little bit more unique, but we really want to tailor make care to you based on the science of what's going on with you structurally and neurologically. And so if we can
Mhm.
figure that out and get your body neurologically stable, you're going to like us. And so
Mhm.
I've been using that line forever because it's truth. I have data. And so I do
Mhm.
18 exams on day one outside of imaging.
I love
And so
that.
again, nothing's wrong with data. And I think
Yeah.
again on this What If Wednesday, what if you asked yourself, I'm going to implement one or two new things to my practice when it comes to how you obtain data so I can
Mhm.
increase my results. That's it.
Mhm.
It would everything, all techniques work. I don't like the word works. What does that mean? Heroin works,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
You know,
Uh-huh.
fentanyl works. What's that mean? So again,
Right.
the whole works thing is are you teaching people about the two brains, the educated innate brain? And if you are, that's our philosophy. Great. With our philosophy, tie the science to it and then
Because it
enjoy.
ties in beautifully.
Oh my, it's perfect. That's why there's the three tenets,
It,
science, philosophy, and art. Without those three, we don't have chiropractic. And this is the problem is when we do not implement a science, this is why I call it the unifier. If we do not implement a science, grade 4 manipulation by a physical therapist is diversified.
Mhm.
That's grade 4, right? I have two massage therapists that are patients of mine that go to chiropractic seminars as
Mhm.
students. And what did
Mhm.
they do at their massage therapy office? Grade 4 minute. They're doing diversified. They're learning these
Yeah.
seminars, going to these seminars because nobody's qualified as you sign up at a seminar. Anybody can go as a student. Anybody can go. And when they go, they're manipulating 9 months of
Yeah.
college and they're racking
Yeah.
people's spines.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And so again,
So
if patients were educated, like, hold on a second, before you do that, do you know there's some certain exams that you're supposed to do? And so if we had
they would
those,
know better.
and the patients would go, I'm not going to get a
Yeah.
ring digger. I'm not going to
Yeah.
allow somebody to tape a microphone in my spine just to get likes on TikTok, right?
Right.
And so we need to stop that. And chiropractors have to come together almost like politics. There's two sides of the aisle. There are, and there will forever be. And you can't make everybody happy. And so again, you have to find out where you stand chiropractically and go, I'm sticking to that. I'm not moving from this foundation. Because if we believe that the power that made us has the ability, not will, has the ability to heal us through the proper functioning of the nervous system, you better have a way of gauging that objectively. And so it's,
Yeah,
yeah, right?
I think this has been like for both you and I, probably one of our most frustrating points in our careers. And we're not talking like we're not like in this a year
Yeah.
between me and Eddie.
I'm
We've been in
26
a
years. This year's 26 for me. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm on 24.
Okay.
So like,
50,
we've been at this a
50,
long time.
50.
Yeah,
Yep.
25.
50 years.
And probably for both of us, one of our biggest frustrations is exactly what we're talking about today, is the fact that it's not even so much that the population doesn't know who we are and what we do, and there's zero standardization,
Right.
but
Even from school to
we
school. There's no standard from school to school.
we don't know who we are, what we do, and there's zero standardization. And you're right. You're absolutely right. And this is not meant to be this is not going to be a bitch session, but we do have to look at what is happening. And Eddie, these kids are coming at these young people. They're not kids, they're adults. Maybe kids, they feel like kids to me
Yeah.
because I'm getting
They're
older,
they're
but
they're adults,
they're
but they're
adults.
adults, but they're Cairo kids because they don't know.
They're adults.
Right.
They can't function. I
Right.
just had somebody in my office. I hired him. I'm not gonna tell you what school he's from. He graduated in June. He lasted 2, 3 months in my office. He couldn't take an x-ray. He couldn't position an x-ray. He couldn't read an x-ray. He couldn't adjust.
Yeah.
And he was shaky on his philosophy. Like, I don't know what to do with an associate like that, because you you
There's
can't
not enough
you're
time.
not functioning as a chiropractor.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I'm not going to tell you what school he came from, but he came from a top-notch chiropractic college.
Yeah. Right. Right. I think what's
And I'm
always so
tired of
crazy is when I was trimester 9, actually trimester 7 at Logan, they put me on the disciplinary board to kick me out of school. So they hired an attorney and they started a petition to kick me out of school. They said, transfer to any school you want. You need to get out of here. And I was a little bit of a thorn in their side then. And because I would question some of the things that the technicians, I call them, but the teachers were doing, the instructors. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what are you don't know that spine, and you're just taking your hands onto it after a classroom and going click to hear a cavitation, and that's an adjustment. What are you doing to prove your work? Where's the science? And I didn't have much science then because I'm a student. We're new. And so I'm
right.
like, it burned me. I'm like, there's got to be a gauge. And that's the only reason I got into green books, because there's got to be a history of some sort of science in this thing. And so I'm like, even the chiropractor that introduced me to chiropractic way back in the day,
Mhm.
and when I was 23 years old and told the story, moved a bone in my neck, I'm like, okay, he had no science. He was a full-blown insurance horror mixer. And
Mhm.
so he had 14 offices. He's like, Eddie, when you get out, I'll make you millions, man. I'll show you how to play the insurance game. He's like, no
Mhm.
matter what you do, stay away from this thing. Right before I went to Logan, stay away from this thing called upper cervical. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Upper what? I'm 23 years old. I was going to school to be a cop last week. Now I'm going to chiropractic school. Right. And so I had
Mhm.
no idea. And so trimester 1, 2, and 3, big in the party thing, right? Dancing, what's up? Right. Always having a good time. And then try 3, I'm like, no, we need to knock it off and start learning this stuff. And what I realized is the chiropractors learn chiropractic outside of chiropractic school.
Mhm.
And they go to
Where do
these
you
seminars,
suggest
and
people
that's
go? Where do these guys go?
to go to for seminars.
Yeah, for
I
learning
mean,
chiropractic.
first, what they do at first, they get in debt by hiring a coach. And so
Mhm.
the reason that is that coach is really successful. Hold on a second. If you can't adjust the spine, I don't care what your coach does. Like, I don't care. I mean, it's not a technique thing.
Oh, you have
I don't
to.
care what it is.
Yeah.
Even Logan College, like here, Logan is Logan Basic, right? It's founded on the basic technique. Now it's an
Mhm.
elective. They pulled it away
Oh
from the
my
core.
God. Really?
Palmer College, Palmer. The core curriculum was toggle recoil. You learned that trimester 4. Pulled it. Now it's an elective.
Mm.
It's all happening. It's getting watered down. So all practitioners, occupational therapists, physical therapists, and chiropractors do the same thing. Diversify.
Mm,
Complete
right.
total manipulation. And so it's just cavitating a joint, calling it an adjustment. It's awful.
So
And
what's the answer? What's the solution? How can we standardize chiropractic? How's like because not everybody's going to agree. Like some people are going to say like,
right, right,
I'm CBP doctor, I use X-ray, right? But some people are going to say, X-ray is not enough or X-ray is not it, or
sure,
I'm going to
sure.
use the neuro infinity or this or that. How do we standardize it?
To me, going back to the philosophy, I'm not too concerned about the spine. I'm more concerned about what's inside of it.
The
So
nervous
I'd like to
system.
know it, and then inside of that is our philosophy. Inside of that,
Hmm.
it's the why of the why. So I'm a huge fan of if I know that there's an electrical impulse traveling from the brain to the body at 268 miles an hour, and when you compromise electricity, the byproduct is heat. It just is.
Hmm.
And so if the byproduct's heat, there's a way of analyzing the spine from one side to the next if there's an imbalance of heat. And if there is, there's something neurologically unsound because when you compromise the spine, you compromise the nerve, compromise electricity, heat. This isn't
Hmm.
hard,
So
right?
thermography.
Thermography is a biggie. If everybody used thermography, I mean, Gonstead, the instrument, the NCM came out in
Hmm.
1923 was when it was invented. And so BJ studied it for a year in 1924, introduced it to the profession. But 1923 is also the same year that Gonstead graduated. So the understanding then was then to understand the
Hmm.
thermography. And I love that he was using instrument. He was getting very specific then because he would scan and then mark that area where that needle would move on the NCM. And those would be the only areas he would adjust. The problem
Hmm.
is he couldn't find a major or a minor because every visit, when they came back, he'd find something else, find something else. And BJ's like,
Hmm.
hold on, it can't be random. And so this is where the science came in. And again, this is where like, infrared thermography, I co-authored a book and it's on Amazon. You can check it out. It's for chiropractors. There's zero technique in here, by the way. I mean, zero. And the philosophy is maybe 1 or 2 pages just thrown in here and there total. It is straight up all science in the neurologic system. And
Oh, I
so
love that.
we need it. So because everybody's like, oh, you're an upper cervical, you're CBP, you're basic. No, don't categorize. I'm a chiropractor,
Hmm.
and how I apply
Hmm.
it is as such,
Right.
But I think the real unifier for me is not. I don't care what technique you're into, what school you
Uh,
graduated. All of us
mhm.
believe that motion is a good thing, right? A
Okay.
fixed joint is not good. And so
Right.
if a fixed joint is not good, what objectively, because most doctors will feel that feels stuck, or they'll do, the range of motion that feels stuck. So when you
Mhm.
unstuck it, adjust them, how do you know that it's moving the right way or if it's improved its motion? Maybe you can feel it, but how do you document that objectively? Because if you had to go to court and an attorney
Mhm.
looks at you and says, okay, you found X, Y, and Z. What proof did you have per the care that you're charging now? You gave us a bill. What proof do you have that you increased the motion if that's what you're writing down is loss of motion?
Mm.
Variable, huge variable. So Titronics created this incredible device, these range of motion glasses, and you can do full spine. You can do shoulders, knees, any joint. This one is for the cervical spine. And it's great. You literally stand behind the patient. You take this instrument and you hold it back here and you have them turn left, right, up, down, back, forth. And you get that XYZ axis. And on the computer, you will see a diagram of a human body, but also a protractor. It'll say, wow, that's 48 degrees. That's 72 degrees. Why is it so fixated on that side? Why is it stuck? I don't know, but it's not normal. I use that all of the time in the office. That's not normal.
Mhm.
When you look up or look down, lateral flexion is a fun one, especially if you're uncertain on where to go
Mm.
with the atlas. People like, I think it's out over here. You're feeling a bone. The bone has anomalies on it. And so if you
Mhm.
flex this way and you flex this way, wow, I can, even me right now, I can go a lot this way, but I don't go that far. I'm a left listing. Why? Because I'm jamming the joint. So I'm subluxated. I got checked 3 days ago. I need to be adjusted this week. And so again, in that process, my body is not functioning structurally and neurologically sound. We have instrumentation for that. And so this is why I'm going down the science road with this. And science has to be our unifier. The philosophy could be, but it's kind of like church. We talk about Christianity. There's like 50 different types of Christians. They
Mhm.
all have their own belief, and they all believe what they believe is to be right. That's the
Yeah.
philosophy and who we are, right? The belief that the body's made, and we talk about innate in this life force and this animates the world and us. Yes, we can talk, we can get it, but we have our own way of teaching and believing that. But you cannot disprove science. If I have a fever and I put a thermometer in my mouth and I go across the country and you put a thermometer in my mouth, and then I go to Australia and somebody else, you're going to get the same darn number.
Mhm.
Really close. Why?
Yeah.
Because that's objectivity. It's not what you think, it's what the instrumentation thinks. And I think that to me is the unifier. I think that if we, I'm going all in with it right now. I'm going all in. I'm going to go after the CE. I'm going after everybody. I'm willing to risk my license right now to stick my neck out. I don't care. I have to, there is a quote that I've got tons of BJ stuff and philosophy stuff everywhere. But there's a quote, and BJ says, I will serve chiropractic if it takes me 20 lifetimes to do it. I won't, because I don't get 20 lifetimes. I want to go home, and I can't wait to go home.
Mhm.
But in that
Right.
process, while I'm here, I'm going to do the best I can, because at the end of the end, what are we really doing? We are being total servants, and nobody offers what chiropractic offers. Nobody. Now,
Mhm.
how many other professions? I don't know any physical therapists or occupational therapists or even medical doctors that went to prison for what they believe in.
Mhm.
Just us, because we
Mhm.
live for this thing and because
Yeah.
it's transformed my life. And when somebody comes to me, I got a phone call this morning, somebody comes to me and says, hey, I got to travel a long way to come get you, but I hear you help people, right?
Mhm.
That's what it's about. Are you helping them? And what proof do you have outside of, if you're not using any science, objectivity, any science at all, like I do 3D cone beam, right? I take 3D images of the spine, X-ray, any imaging, great. Have something so you at least not to see as the guess. At least you know what the heck you're looking at. But when you can sit down with the patient and says, I'm finding this, that's not normal. This is, we're going to do this. These are the things that I'm recommending based on the science data that I have found with
Mhm.
you. That's a true
Yeah.
report. That's a true report. And so how you run your office is your business. You want to do cash, go for it. You want to do insurance, go. I don't care. Right. It's
Mhm.
your gig. It's where you're comfortable. Me, been running cash for 20 something years. Yeah. So, but I can't deviate from the proof of the science. Know what also the science does is it puts you in check, because when you think you've made an adjustment and you do an assessment prior and you adjust them and you do an assessment afterwards
Mhm.
and nothing has changed, you might want to
Mhm.
start second guessing how you apply your art. And so
Mhm.
again, it's not a dig, but it puts me in check. Me, I've got a 40-inch TV screen with all of the data on it. So when I run this scan and I scan the patient's spine, they're facing the other way and they look right up right there and go, why is it still crooked, doc? What happened to that line? You teach when that line is straight, things are normal. Why isn't mine normal? Yeah, they'll call you. That's science. A lot of doctors stop
Mhm.
using the scanner because they can't clear the graph, if you will. They can't neurologically balance the spine because
Mhm.
their technique is poor. And so
Yeah.
that is your own thing to work on. That's your art, right? We should all practice our art. I shot 2 videos this week on how to practice your art when it comes to toggle recoil and warming up and seeing and visualizing without patients here. How do you physically get in shape? Because if you're a chiropractor, you're not taking care of you physically. Good luck. I'm like, good
Yeah.
luck. Like, you got to be in shape. And I'm not talking go to the gym and be an animal. I'm just talking being physically fit, limber, to where you can serve people and have enough energy, because you're the example. You're the
Yeah.
example. People look at you and
Ye-
they want help.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for years I've been feeling really, I don't know if like personally I'm called for this, but I've been personally feeling like we definitely need to set some kind of standard in our profession
Yeah.
for sure. Just because just my experience, and this is just experiential, but my experience is like, I'll have a patient come in, and this happens often, and they'll walk the new patient, like new practice member walks in and they're like, yeah, I love chiropractic. I've been going to chiropractor since I've been a kid. And meanwhile, my brain's going like, this is awesome. Like they know
Right.
what chiropractic is. And then we start getting into things and they never heard the word subluxation. And then everything that they're telling me is all about their pain relief.
Yeah.
So they
And even
love
worse,
chiropractic.
even worse on your end, when you're talking about, the curves of the spine, their spines look like train wrecks.
It's terrible. Their spines
Yeah.
are horrific.
Yeah.
And people cry. like when they see their x-rays. So I have people like, so they'll be
Right.
like, yeah, I've been going to chiropractor since I've been a kid and I love them. And every time I get adjusted, I feel so good. And I love my chiropractor.
Yeah.
And for 50, 60, or even 70 years, because these are people like in their 70s that are coming to me that been to
Yeah.
chiropractor since they've been a kid. They've been getting chiropractic for treatment of neck and back pain. And they
Sure.
walk into my office
Chiro
and they're
cheating.
like,
Yeah.
not like this is not what I've been taught in the last 70 years of what chiropractic is. And I'm like boggled because I'm like, how could you go to a chiropractor for
Right.
70 years and not know why you're like, know what you're doing? Like,
And
know that
I'm
you're.
and I'm guilty of this, and there's no doubt you are as well, that patients end up falling in love with you, the chiropractor,
Sure.
versus chiropractic.
Sure. Or, and it feels so good when they do, doesn't
I
it?
know it's ego filled, but again, it's not about us, but it becomes about us,
Yeah,
and it's
it's true.
unfortunate, but it's no
Well,
different
we
than
gotta
having,
watch
yeah,
out. We just
yeah,
gotta be we gotta check ourselves before we wreck ourselves
right,
because it's easy to feel good when that happens.
yeah.
It's
Oh, it
easy to
is.
go,
It
yeah,
is.
I did a good job. Their pain went away.
Yeah. And I think of that because with the different patients that I've started over the years, I'm like, wow, where's Mr. So-and-so? Where's Miss So-and-so? Where'd they go? Right. And you think about those things like, what did I do wrong?
Mm.
Like, what didn't they get? And
Mhm.
I was pretty bold. I remember my first 15, 17 years, nobody started care ever until they came for an orientation, period.
Mhm.
Monday night orientation, 6:30, every
Mhm.
single Monday night. I don't care if one
Mhm.
person shows up or a million people show up. The same
Mhm.
message is told, right? Figure like
Mhm.
Christ, he walked the earth, he told the same darn message. And so it's the
Mhm.
same kind of thing when we tell that message and share it. I started all of my talks, and I wish chiropractors would do this. I don't know about anybody in this room, and you look around. I, Eddie Weller, am never going to stop having my spine checked for proper neurologic functioning. I'm not. Who's going to stop seeing the dentist? None of you will. Why? Because it makes sense to check your teeth. To me, it makes more
Mhm.
sense to check your spine because your spine controls your teeth. And then you get down to,
Mhm.
and you start telling the story. And so again, it's that kind of thing to what we need to do. The beauty of it is per what I just said on the philosophical and the intent of life, you got to have a science that brings us together. Because again, you practice a very different art that I do. And again,
Mhm.
nothing's wrong with that. But what do we have in common right now?
Well, we test and we post test.
We do, but they're not the same,
Mhm.
right? And so that's the downfall. That's the unifier. If we had one thing in common, you and I, as much as I love you, we chiropractically, we don't. What we do love is the philosophy. There's no doubt, right? So we love
Yeah.
the philosophical aspect, but the philosophical aspect isn't what's going to unify us. Because if it would have already. It's been around since the beginning. And so
So do
it's
you have like an idea of how to get this? Well, first of all, just so that I don't forget to tell you, are those glasses out in the market yet?
They are. We will have these ready to roll. I've been working with Titronics and putting all this together. Yes, we have a splash page. They're ready to roll right now. I'll send you a link where you can get these. I'm
Okay.
also anybody who is following certain docs or chiropractors or even Thrive, right? If you're part of Thrive, you're going to get a special discount on these. And so it's again,
Oh, cool.
and it's so
Do
cool.
I get a discount?
You do. You absolutely do.
Yay!
No doubt, no doubt. And so, what's so cool about
I
it
want
is
those glasses.
they're just a rock star. We keep tweaking them and tweaking them. I love Titronics. The science of these guys is just phenomenal. And I fell in love with them a long time ago with doing the scanner and scanner and scanner. And I'd get in fist fights, literally fist fights in chiropractic school when people were like, here comes Eddie. Yeah, but what are you doing this? And you're hurting people. And it would be like holding them down. Eddie, run. They're going to fight you, man. And it got like that in chiropractic school. And so that's how much I believe in the science of what we do. And again, it's so cool. I had a patient the other day and she's like, oh, I fell. And she fell. I'm like, how'd you fall? She was like, slipped out of my car and I fell and I hit the side of my door and she had a little cut on the side of her head. And she's like, oh, I know I need to be out of adjustment. I'm like, well, how do you know? Well, I hit my head. Yeah, but how do you know? Well,
Mhm.
I don't know. It makes sense. I hit my head. It probably threw my spine off. Well, let's see. So I
Okay.
had put the glasses on her. 85 degrees, 85 degrees. Good. That's normal. With the lateral flexion, it was like 20. She was a little stiff because she should be 45, 45. She was at 35, 35. I'm like, okay. Like, this is nuts right now. We're low balanced. Her flexion extension, great. I ran a scan on her spine, not an ounce of neurologic compromise in her spine. 100%, 99.99999% of chiropractors would be adjusting that lady.
Mhm.
She didn't need to be
So,
adjusted. She
so,
bumped her
so
head.
share with our audience, what did you do and how did you tell her?
What I told her is there are things, the adjustment to the spine is a force. Would you agree? See my head? And
Mhm.
she's like,
Mhm.
yes. It's a constructive force to the spine with the intention of my teachings and my analyzation is when I analyze the spine, I want to make sure that it's neurologically sound. So if I scan
Mhm.
you, my goal here is not to adjust you, right? My goal is to say, it's like going to the dentist. You don't look forward to a cavity. Why would you go to a chiropractor, look forward to an adjustment? You want to go to a chiropractor knowing that you're neurologically sound. And so
Mhm.
if your body's neurologically sound, then the body can adapt through the life's crazy stressors. You got adjusted last week. I rested you an hour after your adjustment. And so I
Mhm.
scanned you afterwards, neurologically, I did the range of motion, everything was balanced. Now, a week later, you fall and hit your head. Let's see if it's balanced. It's still in balance. Your body was so strong neurologically that it was able to adapt to the force of you hitting your head and it didn't throw you out of adjustment. That's how powerful this is. And so she's like, wow, this is kind of cool. Actually, it doesn't really bother me that all that much. And I'm like, oh, 15 minutes ago, she was in a lot of pain. And now I tell her she's neurologically sound. She's like, yeah, it's not all that bad.
Mhm. Okay. I like that.
Yeah, yeah,
I
it's so
like that.
cool.
So next question for you, because I know that people are have this question.
Uh-huh.
So when somebody comes in and gets checked,
Hmm.
and they're neurologically balanced, so they don't receive an adjustment,
Yep.
how do you bill them for that visit? Or do you bill
That's a
them
great
for that
question.
visit,
I
and how?
never, ever, ever will I don't ever charge for adjustments. I charge for a doctor's office visit. In the event that somebody wants a super bill from me, I
Mhm.
never, ever, chiropractors hear me right now. Please hear me. Never put a 9-8 code on your car. That's a chiropractic code. Never do
Mhm.
that. Never put a 9-8 code down. Like here, if somebody comes in that's Medicare age, you have to take Medicare. No, you do not. And so again, because I'm charging for a doctor's office visit, Medicare, I don't charge for adjustments. Medicare only pays for adjustments. They don't pay for x-rays. They don't pay for the scan. They don't pay for the range of motion. So
Mhm.
what they're paying for is a doctor's office visit. In the event you have to be adjusted, there's no additional fee. And
Okay,
so
so let me get this straight.
a 9-9
This
code.
is different, guys. Are you guys paying attention to this? Especially you guys opening a practice. This
Mm.
is different than what you guys have been taught on billing and financial care plans and stuff like that.
Yes.
So what you're saying, Eddie, is that you do not bill them for the adjustment. Essentially, the adjustment itself is free.
It's in no charge. Nothing's ever free. So there's
It's a
no
no
charge.
charge.
There's no
Okay,
charge.
it's a no charge, but
Mhm.
you're billing them for an office visit.
My analyzation. So
So let
when I
me,
do, yeah, when I do my protocol to analyze the spine to see if they are subluxated, if they are, we adjust them. If they're not, we don't adjust them. So they're paying for the exam. It's kind of like blood pressure. Somebody, doc takes your cardiologist takes your blood pressure, they charge you for that exam, right?
sure.
I don't charge for the exam. It's all encompassing. I'm charging you for the doctor's visit. So it's a 9-9 code,
Gotcha.
99213 or 99212 or so, I forget. It's on the but it's
Oh, it's
rare
like an
that I,
exam code.
I'm sorry?
It's an exam code.
Yeah, that's it.
Interesting.
They're
Do
paying
you
for a
know,
doc.
have you ever heard of the S8990 code?
No, S899, is that a modifier code? What is,
It's not a modifier code. It's a generalized wellness visit.
okay,
And it's a non-billable code
yeah,
that signifies a general wellness visit. And it's one code, it's what's called a bundled code.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
anything that you do on that visit is included under that code. So look,
Sure.
check into that. Guys, this is not to clarify, this is not coding and
No, no,
billing
no.
information for you guys to go back and use, but it is some information for you guys to like toss
It's nice not to
around.
be, it's nice not to be ignorant, right? We should need to know what's out there.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of
yeah,
wellness. I never use the word wellness. That's why I say getting wellers. My last name, you're never well. You're always in the process of.
I'm getting
So
older.
anything's all encompassing on a wellness visit. If you're here, side note on how we take notes. Ready? This will divide the profession. SOAP. If your S, you see your S is your subjective. If your S and your P match one another, you're a chiro treater, which means they have a symptom, headache.
Hmm.
I adjusted them in the hopes to get rid of their headache. You're a chiropractic aspirant.
I had to
If
think
you're
about that. It's like algebra.
right, if your O matches your P, now you're a
Huh?
chiropractor. Now you're a chiropractor.
Yeah, I get you. You guys get that? You think
Mhm.
about that for a minute. I'm a little slower than the rest of you guys. It was like
Right,
algebra
right.
for me, but I figured it out. I
Yes.
figured it
And
out.
so the reason why you would be a chiropractor if your O matches, what's the O mean? Objectivity.
Objectives. Yeah.
So what's the objective? The objective is to get objective analysis. And so you know what's going on with the spine. Wow, I found that they're neurologically unsound. I found the range of motion. I took imaging. This is what's going on. I'm adjusting the spine based on the compromise, structural and neurological, on their spine. It
Yeah.
had nothing to do with fixing a condition.
You're basing, yeah, exactly. This is, guys, this is important. I wish, like, I hope that they're teaching this in school. If they're not teaching this in school,
Oh
get
yeah,
this.
no.
If you don't understand it, get in touch with me, get in touch with Eddie, get in touch with somebody that does understand it. And what he's saying is that, the adjustment, it should be based on your scientific objective findings, not
Findings.
on the subjective findings, because
Period.
because
Period.
you're not treating the subjective, you're not treating
Yeah.
the headache, you're not treating the digestive problems. I love when
Anything.
chiropractors
Anything.
I love when chiropractors think they did a good thing
Right.
and the patient understands that, like, an adjustment, their acid reflux goes away, and the chiropractor's like, oh, they get chiropractic. No, they
So
just think that you
I'll
just
share
treated
a
their
little
acid
quote.
reflux.
Totally, totally. I'll share a little quote with you by the late Dr. Kale, Michael Kale, way back in the day. He said, when you think about the adjustment, Eddie, he's like, here's how it works. The chiropractor does 1% of the work. Innate does
Oh yeah,
99%, right? Innate does
sure,
99% of the healing.
sure.
And the chiropractor's ego takes 100% of the credit. And
Hmm.
so, and it's the truth. And so if we're
Well, that's
just,
what we were just talking about before.
yeah, right,
We were like, oh, that feels good. I did
right,
good.
right. So, case in point, real quick on somebody coming on in, I had a woman drive on by and she came on into the office and she's like, hey, I need to talk to you for about 10 minutes. I said, all right, come on in. I got a minute. What do you got? And I sat down with her for about 15 minutes. I said, what's going on? And she said, I got this thing and that thing and just talking about life. And we prayed together. We had a moment together. So, okay. And she went up front and paid for an office visit. It was my time that she was respecting. It just so happened during that time we were talking about other life things to keep her from being unsubluxated. If thoughts create subluxation, people, she needed some thought talk. And so
Yeah.
again, they're paying for that. They should be paying for your time. Why? Because your rear set in school and to study all of this stuff for years and years and years to collect the debt that you did in the hopes to serve people. You need to get
Mhm.
compensated for the time spent in those seats.
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing is
For
wrong
sure.
with that. If you don't make money, you're serving no one,
Oh, for sure.
So,
For
and this is
sure.
why,
I don't
again,
think
we create a protocol. We should do a part 2 to this, but we're creating a protocol and it's important. It's important. So that's where we're going to go in objectivity. If you're curious, Titronics.com. I'll send you the links too. And maybe I'll get you an
awesome.
affiliate. I'm going to send everybody an affiliate link for the rock star over here. I love her. And so,
I'm getting the glasses. I'm
yeah,
getting those glasses as soon as I get the link.
they're a
I
slam
love
dunk.
that. I love that objective finding. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
And know what's even cooler about it is that the data is stored in the cloud, right? And so when it's stored in the cloud, you don't have to worry about your computer. So let's just say you refer a patient over to XYZ, who knows where they're at across the country, and they have the glasses as well. They log right into your patient file and can see all of your patient's data and for the same exact exams. That's what this is about.
Oh, that's
It's
so
so
cool.
it's so cool. And so you don't have
That
to
is
worry
so
about
cool.
requesting files or all that. You have all of their objective data so you can continue care. It's beautiful.
All right, so you're gonna leave us a link so we can get a nice juicy
Yep.
discount on those glasses. What about the thoracic and the lumbar spine? Is that developed yet?
Oh yeah.
Something for the range of
Yep, I
motion?
did it last week. I had a lady with 11 herniated discs.
Holy
11.
shit.
So she's a
Holy.
general hygienist and she's got a bunch of stuff. So I,
Wow.
I take the instrument and
Mhm.
I put it on the, vertebral prominence and I put it in a
Mhm.
lumbosacral junction. I said, okay, here we go. And I just hold them. I said, okay, good. Bend over, twist. And on the computer, everything's calculating all her range of motion. And to see the before and after, 19 degrees different on a flexion, on a just flexion. She goes, ah, ah, I can't. I'm like, I know you've got herniated disc. And so after I do the exam, 19 degrees difference. There's data. I helped you. You have more
Yeah.
motion. And so again, it's just so awesome. Now she's touching her toes. It's just awesome. So But again,
Well, that's awesome.
your art's your art. At least you should prove your art with a science, and that's what we're gonna do. So I'll absolutely send you a link for sure. And gosh,
Okay.
let's do this, chiropractors. Let's do this.
All right, guys. Eddie, thank you so much for playing with me today. You're always fun to
Always,
be with.
always, always.
And I love your message. Let's work toward getting our
Yes.
professions standardized, man. Like
Standardize the protocol.
we deserve this.
Yeah.
We deserve this, and more importantly, humanity deserves it.
It does,
So
and that's
let's
the
get
only thing. I truly, truly, truly believe this is the only thing that's going to protect the sacred trust. The
Mm,
thing that keeps this whole profession together has got to be the science. What medical doctors constantly evolve their science, we need to do the same.
yeah, agreed. Totally agreed.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well,
Hugs
until
to you.
next Wednesday, we'll see if we have we'll see if I can get live next Wednesday. I don't
Ah,
know, but we'll see.
sure.
All right, y'all. Next week. Thanks, Eddie.
Thank you.